Thank you everyone for coming, and thank you for waiting to set up the tech, and thank you for helping me to set up the tech. My name is Nozomi Hayase. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin Renaissance 2.0, a humanistic alternative to technological salvation. The 2008 financial meltdown with subsequent bank bailouts and cycle of austerity led to the weakening of the public trust in governments and institutions. Bitcoin emerged as a response to this global crisis of legitimacy. Now, more than a decade later, the economic damage created by the pandemic has triggered a further breakdown of the system. As the Federal Reserve's infinite money printing creates high inflation, Bitcoin steadily increases its popularity as a safe haven. At the same time, as the old economy is being destroyed, the leading global institutions have stepped forward to reboot the entire system. The key organization, the World Economic Forum, with the theme of the Great Reset, prepares for the rollout of the central digital bank currencies. So what is CBDCs? CBDCs is a type of programmable new money capable of tracking, monitoring, and controlling the flow of transactions. China has become the leading edge of its development. They have applied it to the creation of a social credit scoring program, a system of moral ranking that controls the behavior of citizens. In response to the central banks creating their own digital currencies, the original cypherpunk and cryptographer Adam Back tweeted, "Humanity is at the tipping point. One path leads to dystopia, digital dark ages, neo-feudalism of well-meaning, but economically and socially confused bureaucrat. Bitcoin is the main ray of light, a way to opt out of this central planner, global surveillance state hellscape." Now, Bitcoin and CBDCs, two different types of digital currency with contrasting features, race toward a global adoption. The crux of this competition involves different visions of the world. The outcome of this race will determine the future of humanity. The crisis of legitimacy triggered by the financial panic of 2008 signaled the demise of the Western liberal democracy. This has begun to create a shift in the locus of authority in our society. The idea of democracy that, for instance, inspired the birth of the United States was based on humanistic worldview. For instance, the opening passage of the American Declaration of Independence affirms humanistic values with a belief in the critical value of individual autonomy. It says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness." Prior to democracy, in the past, authority was placed in the gods and the sacred text. People sought answers from the external. They turned to religion, the Bible, and popes for their decisions. A move toward democracy brought a shift in values. It placed authority in human hands, putting emphasis on the individual. People who are seeking behavioral norms outside of themselves began to rely on their personal experience. Yuval Noah Harari, Israeli public intellectual and historian, talks about how in this crisis of democracy, a threat to the humanistic worldview is now emerging from laboratories and research departments in places like Silicon Valley. Harari, who is a lead advisor to Klaus Schwab, head of the World Economic Forum, points out ways in which science is challenging the story of humanism. He explains that scientists are saying there is no such thing as free will, and that freedom is just another myth, an empty term that the humans have invented. He defines feelings as biochemical processes of calculation, and contends that there is no reason to consider them the highest authority in the world. Harari, who is praised by the likes of Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and celebrated by tech workers in Silicon Valley, explains how, in this twilight of democracy, authority is once again moving away from humans. This time, he states, it's not some gods above the clouds that control human destiny, but algorithms and data in the clouds of the Amazon and big tech giants. Harari describes a new revolution happening around this shift of authority. It is led by what he calls techno-religion, the ideology that technology provides salvation. He explains that this techno-religion is a data religion within which data and information become a supreme source of authority and of meaning in the world. Techno-religion makes us believe that technology knows more about us than we do ourselves. It tells us, don't listen to feeling or your gut feeling, trust your gut feelings or intuition. Just turn to data. It says, Google or Amazon collect information about ourselves, and they know about ourselves more than we do know about ourselves. Acting as a spokesperson for this new sector of techno-religion, Harari predicts a coming of a future without humanity. He says, Homo sapiens are in their last generations. He states that the human like you and I will disappear, and the earth will be dominated by very different kinds of beings or entities. Under a new authority of algorithms, Harari describes how human beings are viewed as no longer spiritual souls, but become hackable animals. Some saw what was coming and warned about the potential machine takeover of the world and the elimination of human beings. Julian Assange, WikiLeaks publisher and one of the notable cypherpunks, was aware of this trend from early on. Speaking out against this assault on humanity, he called on those who are technologically capable to take up strong cryptography as a non-violent weapon to defend individual liberty. Assange warned us, the future of humanity is the struggle between humans that control machines and machines that control humans. As central planners try to deploy CBDCs to push their techno-religious movement, a breakthrough in computer science has brought us an alternative vision of the future of humanity. There was an inherent weakness in the system of representative democracy. The mysterious creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, recognized that this system was not adequate by itself to secure the value of freedom and the place of individuals as supreme authority in the system. Those who gained control over the production of money have created an economic system that works to their advantage. Concentration of economic power in a few hands turned the democracy into a system of control. By challenging the monopoly of money, Bitcoin, cypherpunk's holy grail, has enabled economic liberty. Using the principle of don't trust, verify, this technology places the source of legitimacy with individuals for the first time in history. Rather than residing in a cloud of tech giant, authority is now descending into the human heart. The birth of Bitcoin has helped creativity and freedom of expression to flourish, creating the resurgence of the art. It now inspires a new renaissance of humanism. So let's look at the Renaissance for a second. Before the Renaissance, history was seen as being shaped by divine forces. With the advent of the Renaissance, beginning in the 14th century in Italy, this view shifted. The Renaissance placed human beings at the center of life. A man was regarded as a partner in the creation of a God, to actively engage in shaping the course of their own lives. Just as the Renaissance placed emphasis on individual, now the Bitcoin Renaissance 2.0 creates sovereign individuals, enabling human beings to truly come alive. People from all nations with different backgrounds started to align themselves with humanistic ideals that exist at the core of Bitcoin. Through meetups and conferences, they are now finding one another. They begin to speak the same language and share values. Transcending their cultural differences, they have become Bitcoiners. They are bearers of humanity, beginning to claim the source of authority in human imagination. This is now creating a humanistic movement, generating a force strong enough to counter the techno-revolution. So now, between Bitcoin and CBDCs, we are presented with a choice. So let's compare them. Central bank digital currencies are centralized. They offer a promise of salvation through data religion, in which data and information in the clouds of big tech giants become a supreme source of authority. We are once again made to trust on authority outside of us, this time on external algorithms. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is decentralized. It presents an alternative model of salvation via proof of work, where we no longer need to trust authorities outside of ourselves. Through each individual voluntarily participating in a network of consensus, we can engage in validating our own truth. While a path of technological salvation moves a society toward the post-human era, Bitcoin pro-human technology inspires each individual to create a new world of humanism. El Salvador, the country that first declared Bitcoin legal tender, has become a center of this Renaissance 2.0. They are leading the way. Using Bitcoin as a tool, the President Nayib Bukele began to stand up against the central banks and their financial imperialism. As the leader of G7 members are trying to launch centrally controlled digital slave coins, Bukele engaged in effort to increase Bitcoin adoption to open up a path of self-determination. This is attracting creative minds and talent from all over the world. Paolo Adonio, CTO of Bitfinex, the world's leading digital asset exchange, is working to provide a platform for financial freedom. Along with his effort to expand Bitcoin adoption, he aims to maximize decentralization by developing a kit, peer-to-peer chat apps that are built without any central server. Paolo tweeted, "We cannot leave our personal digital life in the hands of corporations that have milked consumer data until the last drop. P2P maximalism is the future." What is Kit? Kit is a P2P messaging application built using the Hole Punch platform. It allows for high quality and low latency data streams between users without any centralized server. It even integrates with Bitcoin Lightning. So the question is, can El Salvador, under Bukele's leadership and his policy of economic liberty, engage people in proof of work to organize a network toward a salvation of humanity? Cypherpunks write code. Positive changes are already happening. Bitcoin Renaissance 2.0 inspires new ideas, bringing in investors and capital to help people build alternatives to big data and centralize a cloud product to enable freedom. We human beings share our destiny. The life of all species is intertwined. Our choices and actions affect one another. With the accelerated speed of technological advancement, as we are being quietly transported into a virtual reality, are we leaving behind our own body, our soul, and the earth? Without human beings who can feel, what would happen to the earth, trees, and all of animals? We Bitcoiners are custodians of this planet. By practicing self-custody and learning who node, which maintain the ecosystem, we preserve the autonomy of the individuals. We can work towards securing the future of humanity. A network of messiahs created through technologically empowered men and women coming together start to form a formidable defense against the transhumanism agendas. Founder of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, noted, Bitcoin is a swarm of cyber hornet, serving the goddess of wisdom, feeding on the fire of truth, exponentially growing ever smarter, faster, and stronger behind a wall of encrypted energy. Underneath the level of the dying world, a new web of life is emerging. It has begun to resuscitate the earth as a living organism. As the old fiat system begins to break down, creating chaos and destruction, a new continent starts to emerge. We are beginning to see the tail of the great turtle. And we are here at the tail in El Salvador. The emergence to the future fifth world has begun. It is being made by the humble people of little nations, tribes, and racial minorities. You can read this on the earth itself. Plant forms from previous worlds are beginning to spring up as seeds. This could start a new study of botany if people were wise enough to read them. The same kinds of seeds are being planted in the sky as the stars. The same kinds of seeds are being planted in our heart from Hopi Indian prophecy. Bitcoin presents a humanistic alternative to technological salvation. Hyper-Bitcoinization has just begun. We are adapting Bitcoin. The dawn of new humanity is near. Hold on tight and huddle through the bear and bull cycle. With heart that beat every 10 minutes, we human beings can claim our freedom and the responsibility to steward Mother Earth and all of her creation. Thank you so much.